This bonus episode of New Politics was released on the 28th of November, 2025, and produced on the lands of the Wangal and Gadigal people.
Just before 4 in the upper house, Pauline Hanson lowers the tone. The senator, dressed in a burqa, sitting and waiting for the reaction she knows is coming.
Dress code might be a choice of the senators, but racism should not be the choice of the Senate.
I do represent a large proportion of Australians out there who want to see the burqa banned. Full face coverings. It's not only the burqa, it's about full face coverings.
Oh, look, it's just a bunch of dog whistling bullshit.
One Nation's leader had sat on the wrong side of the chamber, crossing the floor, her normal attire on show.
Did you just come from Afghanistan?
Attendants had already confirmed it was the senator, allowing her to cast a vote before the Senate was shut down.
The only time we talk about Pauline Hanson is when she does something stupid, and that's exactly what she did in the Senate this week when she walked into the chambers wearing a burqa. And David, we're in two minds about this. Do we just ignore it and hope that it goes away, or do we talk about how stupid it is and give her more oxygen and more publicity? And we've started talking about it, so we may as well talk about the inane idiocy of One Nation. Pauline Hanson is a bit of an enigma. She's been around since 1966, but hasn't really progressed at all. She's a one-trick pony, maybe even half a trick pony. Xenophobic. First of all, it was about Chinese and Asian people. They're okay now, apparently. Then she moved on to Indigenous people. They're okay now too, because she spent a bit of time with Indigenous people when she was in jail. So that's all gone and forgiven. And now she's moved over to Islam and Islamophobia. But the thing is...
No, wait, let's just be fair. She doesn't mind the Christian Muslims. She just doesn't like the Muslims.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that's been cleared up.
You've got to clear that up.
I'm glad you cleared that up, David.
And hello to all our Muslim listeners.
And the Christian Muslims too,
the
wherever they exist, I don't know where. But the thing is that she hasn't become more learned or more articulate, and I realise that's part of the shtick as well, but even this Burqa stunt this week was the same stunt that she tried out 8 years ago, and it's all part of this maniacal quest to ban the burqa, and there's nothing that has happened in recent times to bring this up as an urgent motion. It's probably got more to do with relevance deprivation or trying to pick off some more voters from the Liberal Party and the National Party. That's probably the only reason.
I struggle to see what point she was trying to make. I know that there's a lot of discussion on the burqa and is it an instrument of male oppression or do women like to wear it? I also suspect that it's not a debate I need to be a part of, not being a woman and not being a Muslim woman or a Middle Eastern woman. I do know, as someone pointed out, men in suits do far more damage than women in burqas. And so maybe that's what we should be looking at, banning men in suits. Having said that, I don't know what point she was trying to make. I don't know how you think, if I wear a burqa into Parliament, that's going to strike a blow against the global capitalist, lizard people, Muslim, the pro-vaccination, big pharma, and the whole thing. I said on, I think, Substack in a comment that both you and I agonise over whether to talk about her. And a couple of listeners said, why are you giving her oxygen? And I thought about it and we discussed it, and I thought we've got to call out the stupidity because the mainstream press treats it as a kind of normality or a little quirk. Oh, Pauline, seen what she's done? You know, that's she's made a point there, hasn't she? Well, what point has she made? And this is how this stuff gets normalised. And of course, what is getting normalised is racism. And again, our Middle Eastern immigrants have given to Australia just as much as our immigrants from everywhere else, whether from Europe, from Asia, from Africa, from South America, from North America. They have enriched Australia just as much as any other group, and they've all enriched Australia greatly, not just monetarily, but culturally, socially, even politically. when we look at some of our better members of parliament. Ed Husich, we mentioned him earlier, who stood down on a point of principle when nobody else did. And Ali, very good member of parliament. So when Pauline Hanson does this, you wonder why. It could only be to hurt people. And if you're in parliament, and this goes back to the point of legacy, do you want the legacy of, yeah, I showed them for what they were? Or do you want to be, I came in and I helped as many Australians as I possibly could, and future Australians, permanent residents and people who are looking at getting PR and what have you. And I tried to make this place a better country by allowing the free movement of people in here. Okay, now we've got to check everyone that they're going to be good citizens and what have you, but the vast majority have been. And you've got to do the test, and you've got to jump through certain hoops. That's fine. As long as those hoops are fairly applied to everybody, I've got no problem with that. But yeah, for Hanson to do something so stupid, no wonder she attracts members like Mark Latham, who left her, and Barnaby Joyce, who will leave her. Because
I guess
it's
what we're
idiocy.
It is, but I guess what we're trying to do is give some context for some of these actions. And support for One Nation has lifted in recent opinion polls. It's somewhere between 16 and 18%, depending on which poll you're looking at. But this isn't some sort of slow, organic development of ideas over many years or development of great ideas. I think what we're seeing is a bit of vote harvesting on the right. And it just seems like there's this ongoing war between the Liberal Party and One Nation over the same pool of disaffected voters. And we saw that last week or the week before. The Liberal Party was reaching out to immigration as an issue, as a dog whistle issue, to claw back some of those voters that had gone off to One Nation. And then this week, it's almost like a retaliation. We see One Nation fire back with this Burqa Stunt, and it's almost aimed totally at the reactionary end of the Liberal Party and the National Party too. And Pauline Hanson is free to wear whatever she wants. I actually think that she looked very good in this burqa and should wear it more often. At least it hides who she really is. But all of this is pure theatre, and this is what we tend to get on the right of politics, not just in Australia, but it's all over the place, in America, in the UK, in Europe. It's all about these stunts. One Nation, Clive Palmer's United Australia Party, Katter's Australia Party, Barnaby Joyce, all of these very loud...
Nick Xenophon.
Although different sort of in-your-face character, but it's these loud personalities, it's in-your-face provocation.
Xenophon was a centrist rather than far-right, yes.
Yeah, so. But it's just this in-your-face provocation just for the sake of it and offering very few solutions. And that's all you're going to get with One Nation and with Pauline Hanson. And sure, they represent people with similar views within the community, but it's just this level of nihilism that doesn't do anyone any favours, really.
I've been told, Pauline says what we're all thinking. Does she? Okay.
The silent majority. How do you know what the silent majority is saying if they're silent?
Yeah, exactly. And when it gets to elections, 16 to 18%, sure, that's a big jump. Whether that's maintained for the next 18 months or so, or however it is before we get an election, that'll be interesting to see. And she's never once understood a complex issue. I've been told by senior public servants that Bob Katter is much better in a meeting than he appears on television, that he's across things, that he asks good questions and that he helps shape policy, for example. I don't know that's 100% of the time, but certainly there's that issue. And the other thing too is how tolerant Australians really are. Stanley Bruce, or SM Bruce, the Prime Minister in the 1920s, used to tell the story of a nationalist candidate in North Queensland who's at one of the stump meetings they used to do then. And someone says, what are you going to do about the Italians? Because you had a lot of Italian immigration going and getting jobs as pickers and things in that area of the country. And the guy answered, I'm not going to do a thing. How would you be going to Italy trying to get a job without speaking the language? If you can't look after yourselves, it's not up to me to ask it. And of course, all the seniors said that we've lost that seat. And he came back with a bigger majority because, put into context, these people actually work hard. It was one of those men's magazines, and it wasn't Men's Health, but it was adrenaline pumping, like the old People magazine. And they did a thing on refugees coming over from the Middle East, from Afghanistan, I think. And they put it in, and you get in the boat, and they put it as this high-level, highly intense adventure, which softened a lot of men's attitude who were, oh, these were coming over. Once they saw the context of, oh, actually, this is actually hard. This is much more achievement than a lot of the people complaining about it have ever done. To get on the boat with no money, to go to a country where you have no money, few, if any, contacts, no language, no concept of how their system works, but just to get out of somewhere really dangerous. And Pauline doesn't want to hear this. Anything that shatters her worldview, anything that challenges her worldview is irrelevant. It took her going to jail and actually meeting with Indigenous women to understand that Indigenous people aren't bad, that there are issues that they have to deal with. Now, I'm sure she couldn't give a learned topic on the causes of inequality in Australian Indigenous, and she voted no to The Voice, although she probably argued that Jacinta Price voted no and that Jacinta represented every Indigenous person in Australia too, which of course was nonsense. But her capacity to learn and grow and learn from her mistakes is nothing. She's unfit for Parliament and she shouldn't be in. She's got a right to her opinions and she has a right to debate her opinions. And she's even got a right to dress up in cosplay and make a statement that nobody quite understands what she's making, and including probably herself. But she hasn't given anything positive to Australia in a very long time, and I even venture to say ever.
This is New Politics, available through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Audible and YouTube, and also available to support at Patreon, Substack, and at our website, newpolitics.com.au. The rest of the full episode of New Politics will continue tomorrow morning. Thanks for listening in.